Good morning, hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back and watching another of my videos. Today is going to be a little bit of a dive into the supplements that I have purchased and decided to take as a part of staying well and healthy and nourished this pregnancy. So let's dive right in. I've got a massive big bag beside me because I just had to shovel them all into something to be able to bring them upstairs and film. So I suppose I want to start really from the beginning, which is in saying that while, yes, supplements can really have an imperative role in the way that we support our bodies in growing and nourishing our little babies, the ideal would be that we get the majority of these nutrients from food. And where I feel like supplements can really slot themselves in quite nicely and be really helpful is where in our modern society our soils are many times nutrient depleted, and or we are struggling with making nutrient dense foods. Also not helped by the fact that if you're like me, you maybe feel a little bit rubbish and don't feel like you are on top of your game in terms of lots of nutrient dense snacks or foods. Maybe you're feeling a little bit sicky like me. So these are the supplements that I have done a lot of research on and I've decided to take this pregnancy. Some are similar to previous pregnancies, some are maybe new brands or new ways of taking different things. So I hope you find this helpful. I will do my best to link some of the resources that I might mention, but also some of the links to the products down below. Okay, so my apologies, you're at a little bit of a funny angle because I had to just shimmy back from you a bit. I've also very cleverly lost my tripod recently. I don't think it was really me. I think it was maybe the boys playing with it. They like to think that they are robots and all sorts of other fun things, much more exciting than work stuff. So instead, I'm just going to sit back on my honkers and go through this massive bag of things. Some of them will be really obvious to you. Some of them you might not actually realise are worthwhile taking at all. So the first thing that I have been taking is sort of as a swap to my daily coffee, or like an add-on. You can still absolutely drink coffee in pregnancy. However, there has been some research that has shown that higher levels of caffeine intake have been shown to have an increased risk of miscarriage. So as a loss mumma, this is a pregnancy after two losses, three losses if you include a very early one back in my younger years. So it's always in the back of my mind to do everything that I can to hold on to these little babies. And so I do drastically cut down my caffeine intake. I love coffee. I don't drink alcohol or take drugs or do anything really that exciting. So for me, I love a good coffee, and that's one thing that I really look forward to in the mornings. And so instead, I have been looking at the benefits of adding adaptogenic mushrooms into our diet. In particular, I've been loving chaga and cordyceps, both of which have really helped me to reduce my cortisol levels, which we know are so important when we are hoping for a thriving pregnancy and a little one who's got really healthy stress levels. And their fight or flight response as young adults is impacted by how much stress and cortisol we have in our bodies in pregnancy, which is why meditation, self-care is so important. But what I've been doing instead of doing like a full caffeine coffee is adding in some of this 4-sigmatic mushroom powder. This is a little blend, and it's particularly important, for its adaptogenic properties, so it will meet you where you're at to really balance you out. But also I've been finding it really nice from like an immunity perspective. So I haven't gotten sick since, I don't get sick anyway. I do mind myself very well, but I'm particularly aware that I don't want to get sick when I'm already a wee bit immunocompromised, because our body really sort of drops our immune systems a little bit because interestingly, the way that it perceives a pregnancy is as a sort of almost like a threat. And so we don't want our body to perceive that supposed threat and expel it or fight against it. So I want to make sure that I'm supporting my body any way I can. So this is the 4-sigmatic one. There's all sorts of different ones out there. This one's particularly nice because it's got a lovely blend. It's got the chaga, reishi, cordyceps, also got lion's mane, which is nice for in the morning, really high in vitamin C, all sorts of so many different, I think there's like 10 different ones. And on the days where I don't have a coffee at all, I have been having a wee bit of like coffee aversion, which sucks because like I said, I really enjoy it and I really look forward to my coffees. So instead I have been taking these Fabo Shrooms immune complex. And actually this I first bought for my husband, but I've started taking it myself because I thought it also might help with sleep. It also contains zinc, copper, cordyceps, chaga, vitamin D3 and C. So I always recommend, instead of just going willy-nilly and saying, well, Kitty's taking these, so I should also take them, to get your blood work done first. And I got a full panel of blood work done at the very start of our trying to conceive journey. You might have seen that if you've been following along on our trying to conceive diaries, that I got a whole list of blood work done, and that really told me that I was low in a couple of things. And so for me, I am supplementing appropriately based on those results. So that is my sort of caffeine support. The next thing that I want to talk about is specifically seaweed. And for me, you're very dark, aren't you? For me, I love to eat seaweed. I love to eat it just by itself. I love sushi. I love seaweed crisps, and I will do bulk orders of seaweed crisps. But the reason that I'm taking them, the reason that I'm eating them is for the iodine. So I've also made sure to include some sort of a seaweed supplement. This is kelp, which is particularly high in iodine, but really any decent brand. I like the Avogel brand in particular, just because they tend to have less other bulking agents and things in them. I like the ingredients list. But the reason for that is because Ireland, being one of the few countries in Europe that does not, alongside folic acid / folate, recommend an iodine supplement as one of the things that you must do. As soon as you pee in a stick, you start taking a prenatal that contains iodine and folic acid. And so while folate / folic acid is for neural tube development, when those panels close together to create the spinal column and make sure it's all fused nicely, folate or iodine is actually for brain health and brain development. And there was some lovely evidence that showed that those mamas who supplemented with iodine specifically, those children went on to have better brain health, brain development, but also higher IQs. So for me, I always like to look at what the guidance is in other countries as well. And so for me, this was a bit of a no-brainer. And I did it last pregnancy as well. Can't say Archer's a budding genius yet, but it's certainly really helpful for me for thyroid health as well, and just supporting all of that. So eat seaweed. I also add it to broths and things like that, soups and stews. I get it finely milled and just pop it in there, sprinkle it on top as if you would salt or pepper, and then I'll make sure that I take this daily if I haven't already had a bag of seaweed crispies or something. Okay, next thing is let's talk about these. So I have decided on methylfolate this pregnancy. The only time that I took folic acid, which is the synthetic form of folate, was in my very first pregnancy. And then I sort of dove into the evidence and the research around which one is more beneficial, which one is more easily assimilated or broken down by the body, and very quickly realised that folate is much more bioreadily available and much easier for us to break down and utilize. So this is folate, and I'm taking 400 IUGs every day. I've been tolerating it really well. It's hard enough to get, you do have to buy it online. If you go to get, your typical prenatal in Tesco's, they're not going to have it, but it's something that's worthwhile seeking out. I will leave a post here by Dr. Lily Nichols that breaks it down really, really nicely, which one is worthwhile taking. because I'm not a nutritionist. I just like to, or a dietitian, I just like to research these things myself. A fabulous book of hers, actually, that I might also link down below. The next thing is understanding the importance of trace minerals. In particular, I'm talking about like sodium, potassium, magnesium, which really we should be supplementing with on an everyday basis. At the moment, it's very trendy to have these adrenal cocktails. However, I don't have the energy or the bandwidth to be making these sorts of things up on my own. So I've been really enjoying these two brands. Element, I don't particularly like this flavor. This is the chocolate salt flavor. They are very salty. I like the sort of citrus one, the watermelon one, the lemony one. Really nice, and you can just dilute them quite well. But again, really wonderful to make sure that you are really firing on all cylinders and that you are sort of putting the spark plug into your cells, as it were, to give you the energy to go about your day, but also to grow a little baby. So I've also been taking the hot chocolate one to go to sleep at night, because I feel like the magnesium really helps me settle myself down. And then if I don't do the element during the day, I will add about 10 drops of these trace mineral drops into maybe some orange juice or something during the day. It doesn't taste particularly nice. Very similar ingredients to what I just mentioned here, but it also contains, along with the magnesium, sodium and potassium, sulfate, lithium and boron. So just being mindful to not like go overboard on these, but I've really found a difference, and I've been feeling really well, like touch wood. I've been feeling really well so far, aside from the normal nausea and what I believe is like normal fatigue levels. I've got a thriving business, 2 small babies, and 3 including Jess, who's not a baby. And I've still been able to like work out every day. I've still been able to keep going with work, and it's just fantastic. And attending births and all sorts of like things that are quite hard on the body, I've been able to continue doing, which is so fantastic. So I would recommend adding in some trace minerals into your diet if you haven't already. And the last thing that I want to talk about, because the other things are like foodstuffs. So I might do like a separate like foods I've added into my diet in pregnancy. Let me know down below if you think that would be interesting. But this is a vitamin C. I'm taking 1,000 milligrams, and the reason for this is it's not actually what you would think, which is like immunity and to stop you getting sick. The reason that I'm supplementing with vitamin C is because there was some lovely evidence that showed that those women who supplemented with high quality, high dosage of vitamin C were less likely to have their bag of waters rupture prematurely. And while that has never happened to me before, I sure as hell want to do everything that I can to support this little one in staying in as long as they need to grow and develop fully and be ready for the outside world. So I know that wasn't too long, but I don't take a specific prenatal. I will also add in there an omega complex that I haven't gotten at the moment. I've just finished mine. And perhaps at a later stage, if I feel like my tummy is being a bit funny, I might add in a nice like multi-strain probiotic. But I also tend to eat things that contain prebiotics. So kefir, kimchi, fermented foods in general, that sort of thing. So that's really it. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you want any more information on any of the supplements that I'm taking, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.